Hey y'all, this is Treacherous Slayer coming at y'all with another video, and before we get started, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe y'all. Now today we're getting into Dexter Original Sin, Episode 8, Business and Pleasure. Now y'all, this episode starts off intense as hell with Aaron obviously crushing up some sleeping pills to put into Nikki's drink of water, and we see him tossing the water and Sunny Smile in the holding room that he has Nikki in, and Nikki's obviously hiding in the corner because he's still clutching his hand after his lame-ass father cut off his finger in the first damn place. And obviously Nikki's starving and possibly dehydrated and quickly consumes the items that Aaron tossed into there. And then a little moment passes. Aaron goes inside and checks if Nikki's conscious at all, and possibly defiant like last time, and obviously he's asleep and intoxicated as he pulls off Nikki's tank top shirt, and Nikki mumbles as Aaron tells him to shh, and then he says dad. So obviously he'll recognize dad's voice as he slightly stirs, and Aaron quickly gently lays him down and quickly pulls off the abductor mask to confirm that it is him as he's holding Nikki's tank top. So I'm like, okay, what was the whole point of taking off his tank and taking off your mask and everything? Like, he would still be able to identify you if you get those drugs out of his system somehow. But yeah, I'm not liking where this is going. So we then jump to Ginger Snap and Harry starting off their morning before they go into the office. And Ginger Snap is just kind of looking nervously at him since they had a dispute last episode. And Harry asks Ginger Snap, okay, where is Deborah? Where's your sister? And he was like, she's not in her room asleep. And he was like, no, she didn't come home last night. And Ginger Snap just brushes off like, oh, well, maybe she's at Sophia's, And then Harry asks Ginger Snap, no, she mentioned some guy, Gio, when they got into it yesterday, that she was going to a guy named Gio's place. And he asked Ginger Snap, what's his age? And he was like, I don't know, like 25 something. And he was like, damn it, Dad. Just this one, I'm like, well, you wasn't paying attention enough, so obviously she gonna be with some 20-something girl at the moment, so, like, let's make it make sense. And he asked him, like, was he cool and everything? And Ginger Snap told him, like, yeah, he's very protective of Deborah. I didn't really see any red flags. And he tells Ginger Snap to go investigate and bring Deborah back home, basically. So, but before Harry hastily has to go and go pick up LaGuerta for their trip to Tampa, since they gotta go investigate the suspect in NHI murders, he quickly stops Harry, like, wait, I think Aaron's the abductor, and he's the one who killed Jimmy, and he's abducted Nikki too. So, and then obviously Harry rushes off at thinking Ginger Snap's just jumping to conclusions, but I'm looking like, okay, you trained him to pay attention to signs of obviously evil behavior, so you can't just, dismiss the fact that it could be your best friend that you're claiming you're so close to, and just trying to substitute the fact that Aaron is a grieving father at the moment. He would do anything in his power to bring Nikki home, and that's the perfect cover story for someone sadistic like him. And he just tells Dexter, like, look, I know you have this darkness and you're just like itching to always reap justice in your own way, but you can't take out everyone that you deem obviously a bad guy and knowing damn well they're not. So you just focus on what I told you to do and stop trying to focus on yourself. I'm going like, now I gotta beat the hell out of Harry, because I'm like, you can't really get mad at Ginger Snap because you train him to be like that, and obviously he's onto something, because we'll see that in a minute. We then jump to Deborah and Gio enjoying their morning after, obviously a hot date, and he makes her coffee and everything and asks her what is she doing for today since he has to go to Vienna for a business meeting. And she was obviously said, well, I got suspended and everything, so I ain't got no plans. And he suggested, like, so why not just come to Vienna with me and everything? And yeah, I'm paying attention to the sides. I knew there was something off about Gio, and I paid attention to the scenery and everything. You gotta pay attention to symbolism and things. He already has a Scarface poster in the background, and there's this like golden snake statue on a countertop as him and Deborah are speaking, and the camera kind of focuses on that. So I'm putting two and two together. Like, obviously he's a serpent in disguise of something, and he's hiding something from her. So as we soon learn that, we notice that Ginger Snap is already going to Deborah's school and everything. And y'all, what the hell? We see Sophia forced to this guy named Chad to quickly put his arm around her, and obviously it's her attempt to make Ginger Snap jealous, even though he's not giving a flying fuck about that at the moment. He's trying to find his sister. He's like, okay, hey Sophia, have you seen Deborah? Like, is she here? And she's like, no, but here's my new boyfriend Chad, and hey Chad, this is my ex-boyfriend Dexter. And Ginger Snap just looks at him, and he was like, wait, this is the guy that beat up Tiffany's older brother? And he was like, oh hell no, I don't want no problems. And he was like, nice to meet you, Chad. I guess Chad said he don't want no damn smoke, and I don't blame him. I was like, yeah, keep walking. And then she attempts to try to dismiss him, but before dismissing him, she like kisses him desperately and attempts to further fuel, in her mind, Ginger Snap's jealousy for the guy, even though Ginger Snap his objective at the moment is to listen to Harry's wishes, which is find his sister. And then, as she sees it doesn't work, she just pushes Chad away, like, okay, I'll see you later. And then he asks her, like, okay, where's Deb at? Like, have you seen her at all? And she's like, no, like, we're obviously not speaking at the moment due to her taking your side in our breakup. And I'm like, girl, you were so delusional, you didn't even get to let him explain. He already told you that wasn't his Trojan, and you just jumped to conclusions, but that's on your crybaby ass. And oh, she pissed me off, but he continues to tell her, like, okay, do you know where she will go and everything? And do you know where Gio lives and everything? Like, what do you know about him? And she's like, well, I don't know. I think his last name's like Martinez, and he lives somewhere by the beach. That's all I do know. And he's like, okay, thanks for the tip. And then before he goes away, she's like, hey, Dex, if Deborah's gone at the moment, she doesn't want to be found, so just leave her be. And he was like, okay, yeah, whatever, thanks. He was like, but fuck what you talking about. I'm about to go find my sister. So he leaves and go finds Deb. And we also see a little moment of La Guerta as she's kissing her man, Miguel, who's also in law school at the moment to become a DA before she leaves work. And Harry clowns her for like, oh, I thought you were married to the company type. And she was like, no, I have fun. I have a life too as well, so... You know, and then they have a mini heart-to-heart as they're on their way to Tampa to investigate Patry, who is the prime suspect in the NHI murder case. So, as he's venting about his problems with Deb, and she brings up, does she have a mom to sort out these issues with? And he's like, well, she passed last year. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry. And she explains to him that her upbringing, she also grew up without a mother. She basically migrated to the U.S. when she was like 6, and she lived with her aunt and uncle, and she gave them hell. Even hopped on a bike with a tatted motorcycle guy up to Boston until they came and dragged her ass back home. So she was like, at the end of the day, I know she's giving signs of a wild child at the moment, but she know where home is, so you don't have to worry. Then that was a nice bond moment. So obviously Harry and La Guerta are definitely forming a bond that has also with like Bobby and Angel, so that's nice that she's getting comfortable with Harry and potentially the other teammates as well. We then see Aaron continue to set up this local cartel crew for abducting Nikki, and as he sees Dexter walking to the police station, he slightly just averts his glance, even though he knows Dexter is kind of onto him. So we see Dexter looking up Gio's name in a database, and he couldn't find him at first, but we learned his name was like Guillermo Martinez, so he found an address, and luckily as he found that address, Kamala comes and interrupts him and dumps some old cold case files of blood tests on his desk and saying, if you still want to take my boat for a spin, you could ask me anytime, basically, since he missed our last offer. And Tanya comes in and thanks him, like, obviously you impressed the captain because he wants you to investigate all these cold cases with past blood samples and everything. And obviously Ginger Snap's smart self is putting 2 and 2 together. Obviously he's trying to keep Ginger Snap busy and away from Nikki's case so he can further his suspicions with him being the abductor. I'm like, this sick son of a bitch. Like, he thought of everything, but luckily Ginger Snap listens to his intuition and follows Aaron as he tries to pretend to leave and go change some clothes for his excuse, and Ginger Snap luckily follows him. Notices that he was on his way home because he started to doubt himself and let Harry's ideology seep into his brain, but then he notices Aaron busts a right and meet up with this, obviously a dealer of some sort of guy, and gives him a yellow plastic bag filled with something. So Dexter, following his gut, follows the guy that Aaron did the exchange with and follows him to this, it looks like a trap house that belongs to one of the cartels, and the guy just goes in with the bag. So before Ginger Snap can further investigate, he gets an alert from his beeper, and he has to go alert Harry on the update of finding Deb. And then Harry's asking him, okay, like, did you find Deborah? Like, where's she at? And he's like, oh no, but well, he said, I think I found his place on the beach. So he also slips up and tells her he's also following Aaron, and he thinks Aaron's up to no good. And Harry snaps on him like, look, I told you stop investigating him. You need to focus on bringing your sister home. That's what you need to be focused on. And since we already seen LaGuerta and Harry have to wait for the Tampa, Florida PD to come let them in a no entry, since the man they're investigating, obviously his home is condemned at the moment. So they wait for that. We also see a flashback, y'all, of Laura and Harry playing with Dexter and Brian in a park and meeting up, and she was telling him about the Estrada wanted her to meet at the shipment container place where obviously they do the exchange of, products. And Dexter, unbeknownst, not thinking they would be followed, because obviously they tried to act like they didn't know each other since they were in the public setting. Dexter runs up to Harry, and Harry gets shook as he stands up and looks around, make sure they're not being watched. And even Laura, she got scared as hell, like, oh no, like, because anybody could be watching. And y'all, lo and behold, Jimenez, who was Estrada's right-hand man, peeped the whole thing, and now that confirmed his suspicion. Now he knows Laura's informant. And y'all, disclaimer, I know the whole time I've been calling Laura in these flashbacks Debbie, because the whole time she looked like the little Debbie woman on the logo, so that's why I've been calling her Debbie. So don't eat me up in the comments, y'all. I know y'all thought I confused Deborah and Laura for the same person, which I didn't. That's my nickname for Laura. So she looked like the little Debbie logo. It's so beautiful, but I digress. It just sucks, like, what happened to her, like, what she had to do. But yeah, y'all know. If y'all watched the first original Dexter, y'all already know. I ain't gonna get into that because it's just, so. We then jump back to the present where we see Deborah and Gio arriving at Vienna, and she meets his cousins and he greets them, and it just had their usual witty banter. And they party and everything, and she goes to get a drink of water and notices some strange man loading some cargo onto Gio's yacht, and she's getting curious and being nosy, being her usual nosy self and curious. And Gio, like, catches her by surprise, like, what are you looking at? You need to focus your pretty face over here and everything. She's like, oh no, I'm just making sure people ain't, like, sneaking and breaking into your boat and everything. He was like, no, you just focus over here, like, you got more important things to worry about. I'm like, yeah, obviously you hiding something. I was like, okay, yeah, he definitely hiding something, y'all. And he's to further distract her, because she was starting to get suspicious, he busts out this, like, diamond bracelet for her, and she, like, is ecstatic and wants to put it on, and he just brushes that moment off and walks her back to the party. Then we see Harry and LaGuerta investigating Patrick's home as they're let in, and notices that obviously it was a scuffle and a big bloody crime scene that happened. So obviously Patrick didn't make it, and he was bopped and flopped by one of his past patients, and we learned there was at least 300 of his past patients, so the suspect could be anybody at this point. So, and it was funny, LaGuerta made a comment like, I wish your son was here so he could do his thing. Because if Ginger Snap was there, he definitely would have been able to put two and two together of who the suspect could be. So we then also see another flashback of Laura having a happy moment with Dexter and Brian as she lets them paint her nails, and they're bonding. And they get interrupted by Jimenez and a few cartel members as they're kidnapped and brought to the shipment containment location where she was supposed to meet Estrada. So obviously we all know where that leads to. and she's like hiding in a container, trying to shroud Brian and Dexter from the inevitable doom that's about to soon come towards them. That was just so sad to see. I couldn't. But this episode was so intense, but so well written too. Like the writers doing a phenomenal job, the pacing, the directors, like everybody involved, the actors, y'all all doing a great job. Don't stop, keep going, because I cannot wait to see these next 2 episodes and how they unfold. Then also, Ginger Snap goes to investigate where Gio's location is, and he goes to Gio's penthouse. And then lo and behold, some woman opened the door, and she's like, yeah, can I help you? I'm not taking any solicitors at the moment. He was like, oh no, I'm here for Deborah. And she was like, who the hell is Deborah? And he was like, is Gio and Deborah here and everything? And she's like, oh, no. She was like, oh. She's my sister, and she's Gio's girlfriend. Hey, yeah, I was gagged. This moment gagged me, and he was like, that's original. She was like, oh. So she must be his new plaything at the moment. Obviously, he went to our condo in Vienna, you know, and obviously brought her. So he was like, wait, so who are you? She was like, I'm Ariana. I'm Gio's fiance. I was like, see, I knew he was too good to be true. I already called that. Like, I knew all that, access to all that booger sugar and broken promises was just all confirmation that he wasn't shit to begin with. Like, I already knew. It was like, this is why y'all need to trust y'all intuition more. Like, I'm just so annoyed. And he asked to borrow her phone real quick, so he calls Kamala for a favor to use the boat, since now he knows he has to go save Deborah from whatever Gio is doing, unbeknownst to Deborah's knowledge. And we also see Deborah going to get her jacket as she enjoys her shiny new bracelet as Gio takes a phone break, obviously for transporting some product. And she goes into the guy and go get her jacket, and she notices like one of the seats are lifted up, and then she lifts up to see and sees some fragile packages in the product. Obviously, we know there's probably loads of booger sugar up in them packages. Like, we could put 2 and 2 together. We ain't like 5, y'all. So he comes in like, look, I told you to not be nosy and be up in here. And then she was like, oh, my bad, I was just curious and everything, ain't no big deal. And he was like, it is a big deal, I told you to stay far away from here, and still up in here being nosy and trying not buying the business that pays you. She's like, okay, you need to chill the fuck out, like, it's not that deep, like, why are you getting all like angry and assertive? And he's like, okay, you can get the hell out of my boat. She's like, are you serious? How the hell am I supposed to get home? He was like, not my problem. I was like, see, your pop ass done took all that booger sugar and you being irrational. You just gonna leave her straight in Vienna? Like, let's be serious. And she's like pissed off. She says, fuck you. And then we see her like cussing him out at the pier at night, y'all. Like, throwing him, she's like, fuck you, don't fuck his yacht. You know? And then luckily, Ginger Snap comes and saves the day and calls her. Like, Deborah sees her chilling on the beach. She's like, Dex, thank God. And she tells her, like, Gio was like a lying sack of shit and left me stranded here. And I was just, you know, stupid to come. And she was like, how'd you find me? And he was like, oh, I looked him up in a database, and Sophia said he lived by the beach. And I also ran into his fiance. She was like, fiance? Oh, that son of a bitch, I should have known. She was so over it. She was like, just take me home at this point. And I was like, right. And then they hop on a boat, and they have their heart to heart, and she's constantly just beating herself up, saying how, like, dumb she is, and how she lost everything, her scholarship, her best friend, you know, the team, like, what else can she lose and everything? But he has to bring her back to reality. No, like, you have me and Dad. She's like, bye, like, I can't even come in between the bond you have with him. And he's emotionally constipated. Which Harry is. He is has a bad avoidant personality, but I think that's due to what happened with Laura in the past and what happened with Doris. So he just all messed up in the moment. And she's like, it's hard to talk to him because it's like, he's only trying to talk to a version, and then Ginger Snap finishes for like a version that he wants you to be. And she's like, wow, I thought he understood you more than ever. And he was like, that's clearly not the case, because he don't, because he obviously gave him the skills and the training to carry out his vengeance to ridding the world of trash. And obviously Harry can't handle that fully, since we still see him indulging in his vice. So she, you know, cusses out Gio still verbally and throws the diamond bracelet up in the ocean. And She has a instant regret, like, damn, I could have pawned that, what she could have, because I would have definitely pawned that. Like, run me my money on. And he says he finally has a realization on where he could have a new dumping ground with, getting rid of his evidence. Because he was like, once it's in the ocean, it's lost forever. So now we see the Easter egg where he becomes who he is in the future. So they cheer and make their way back home. Then she suggests that they have a pizza night and movies, but then he gets Paige to go to the police station, and she was like, you don't have to tell me, you gotta go to work. And he apologizes with a nod and leaves, and then we just see her seep into more despair. It's just Sassy and Deborah, so like down and missing her mom, and she was breaking into tears. And we see Ginger Snap arriving to the station and noticing Aaron is staging a raid for the cartels as Tanya and Masuka fills him in with the details, and he starts to put two and two together, like, okay, why the hell we going to a cartel raid when he needs to be looking for his son? So they arrive at the place, and Dexter realizes that's the place where he followed the other presumably dealer guy at, and notices the gnome there as well. So he just has to wait on the sidelines with Tanya and Masuka as Aaron and the rest of the team, including Angel and Bobby, investigate and raid the cartel house. So they raid the house, and chaos ensues as Aaron yells at all the members, like, where's my son? They, say, screw you, pig, like, I'm not telling you anything, like, and spits at him. And obviously he's letting his emotions get the best of him, obviously, since he's staging all of this, and even Ginger Snap part starts putting two and two together with all this. And then one of the cartel members gets brazen and starts shooting, and y'all, it was just so horrible. Like, mayhem just escalated quick, and Bobby ends up getting shot in his neck, and luckily Angel puts pressure on his wound and tells everyone to, like, call the ambulance and everything. But then other guy also investigating Nikki case, he tells him no, they ain't gonna have no time, put him on one of those shields and haul him out. And he puts him on a shield and haul him out to get medical attention, and Dexter's just frozen, and Tanya takes the investigative equipment from him as the team clears out the whole cartel crew. So all of them were like just bopped and flopped at that point. Like, all of them were just bopped and flopped, and it was just a mess. And the captain, he took the gun from Aaron, and Aaron was just holding Nikki's shirt since Bobby found Nikki's shirt, and that's what distracted them all in the first place. And Dexter started to put two and two together and realized that Aaron had staged this whole thing. He was just pissed off because he knew he could have prevented it and prevented his uncle from getting shot. So he just like seizes and like has this inner monologue on how like he could always spot the darkness in people, and he's never wrong. And we also see LaGuerta getting nosy with Harry's case file, as she noticed he brought this file of Brian Moser, which we know that's Dexter's older brother, since he pulled that case file when they had to go investigate at the Tampa base to get all those 300 names, since they couldn't look that up on their database and they had to dig through all those files. But Harry noticed Brian's file and quickly pocketed it so he could see what Brian's up to, and he started to notice that Brian must presumably be the NHI murderer, since he took out Raul, who was, we thought, Ferreira bopped and flopped, but in reality he was an attendant nurse to Brian's case, since Brian has a bipolar disorder and violent behavior. So we know how he's handling what happened to Laura in a different, similar way that Dexter's handling it. But Dexter was trained by Harry, so obviously Brian got lost in the system, and we know how that ends up. So she quickly puts his case file back, and we just see the episode wrap up with the flashback of Ginger Snap being held up with Brian and Laura in the shipping container, and Estrada interrogates her like, yeah, don't plead with me, the sins of the mother always fall to the children. So he looks at him and they start the chainsaw, and they start just ripping this one poor guy apart in front of like Laura and the kids, and she thinks she's shrouding her eyes, but Dexter sees the whole thing. And y'all, the episode wraps up, and this was just so intense, like just a never-ending ride. There's drama ensuing, y'all. Like, this was just crazy. And I just wonder how the season finale is gonna end, because Business and Pleasure was definitely a beautifully bittersweet written episode. Like, oh my gosh, it was just so riveting and so immersive. Like, you were like there with them at that moment. Like, you understand the pain of each character and why they turned out the way that they have, as we're witnessing them. Because poor Ginger Snap, him and Brian, they just went through some things. Brian obviously dealt with his past trauma in a different way, since we know in the future show he becomes the Icebox Killer, so that's what he's known as. So y'all let me know what y'all think about Business and Pleasure, and how y'all think Ginger Snap is gonna handle Aaron, because I think he's gonna have to knock out Harry hard-headed ass with some of that Etterfiend, since he's definitely not gonna let Ginger Snap get to him as quick as Ginger Snap wants. So Ginger Snap ain't gonna have no choice but to knock Harry out and go deal with Aaron. I just wonder how he's gonna execute that though, because it's tricky, but he needs to follow Aaron bitch ass one good time to see where he is hiding Nikki, since he staged that whole cartel attack. So, hey, y'all let me know what y'all think Bobby's fate is, because it ain't really looking too hot since Harry and LaGuerta rushed to the scene as well to go check Bobby's fate too. So hopefully that wakes Harry, naive, oblivious ass, like, you trained Ginger Snap and now you acting like you can't put two and two together and consider all possibilities that anybody could be a suspect. I mean, that's like slasher 101, like, let's be serious. So yeah, y'all let me know what y'all think, and are y'all excited for these next two episodes? The season finale is coming, y'all, so I know I'm about to be sat and ready, and I cannot wait till Ginger Snap officially takes out Aaron, because it's coming up. I know it's coming up, and I cannot wait, y'all. So I'm Treacherous Slayer, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.